Hello friends, welcome back to Belle's Library. I'm Heather. So today I'm going to be walking you guys through the TBR plan I have for the Enneagram Readathon that is starting here really soon. If you guys haven't heard of this, it is running from August 1st through the 14th, and there is a ton of hosts. Rise Reading Corner is where I've heard of this, and I think she's one of the main people who really coordinated all of this. But basically, you have 9 Enneagrams, and there's 2 hosts for each of the Enneagrams, and there's teams for each 9, and there's a big Discord, and it's just gonna be so much fun. And each of the teams has a graphic to have 4 different prompts going on that they're trying to fill. And so I am an Enneagram 2. I'm pretty sure I'm probably an Enneagram 1, but I just was really not vibing with it and when I was starting this. And I am kind of a 2 and kind of a 3. I'm like really in that grouping, and I just connect with so much of that, and I really just decided to go with the 2. It was just calling my name and the prompts just seemed right. So I am on team 2. So you'll see in a minute I have the prompts going on for that team, but once you finish the 4 prompts for your team that you're on, you can continue into reading any of the other prompts or buddy reads that are going on. So that's another piece of this readathon, is there is a buddy read for each of the teams. Now, if you've already read the book or you're not interested in the book for your team's buddy read, you can read any of the buddy reads to fill that like 4th prompt spot. Basically, I have my computer here, and I'm just going to walk you through the 4 prompts that are happening for Team 2. But then also, I have the Enneagram 1 and 3 I made TBRs for as well, because those are the ones that I also connect with. And I figured then I have a lot of options for books to read, and I'm kind of staying within my Enneagram range where I feel like I really fit. And so I've got, quite a few books to kind of talk you through and options for my TBR. So starting with, again, Enneagram 2, there's 4 prompts. 1 is to read a romance. 1 is to do a poll and have that pick your read. And then number 3 is to read a sequel to some series that you've already started. And then the last one is our buddy read. So for a romance read, I decided to do Dial A for Aunties. I have heard a lot of people raving about this one recently and saying it is just so funny. And I know this is actually a debut author. Oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. I want to say it's like Jessie Sultana or something. Let's take a peek really fast and see. But basically, this is about, I think her name's Medi. So Medi accidentally kills her blind date at this wedding, and she calls up her mom, and her mom calls up her aunts, and they all like come in and they're trying to help her get rid of the body, and like, I don't know. Things just go very awry. The body gets like shipped to some other, like in a ice chest or something on accident to like a longtime crush of hers or something like that. I don't know, I've heard it's really funny, and it's like kind of like a murder mystery rom-com thing. I don't know. It sounds wonderful and right up my alley, and I'm very excited to be getting to it. So it is Jessie Q. Sutanto. So yes, very excited about that. And it has to do with the Chinese Indonesian culture. So that's awesome. Then I did put up a poll on my Instagram, and I had, I think, Lock Every Door, Sorcery of Thorns, and The Cost of Knowing, all books that I'm hoping to read next month. And Sorcery of Thorns won that poll, so I've got that one on my TBR here. So this is my Margaret Rogerson, and I'm actually also buddy reading this one, so definitely going to be finishing it off anyways. I have been really enjoying doing some buddy reads with my friend Erin. And this one, we are following Elizabeth, and she grows up in one of these great libraries that has all these grimoires in it. And the grimoires like whisper on the shelves and they rattle against their chains, and they are basically like used by sorcerers, but sorcerers are considered evil, and so are the grimoires. And basically if the grimoires are like provoked, they turn into monsters apparently. So Elizabeth really wants to become a warden in one of the libraries, and basically she would be protecting the kingdom from all these grimoires. But then, you know, there's a sabotage that happens, and one of the most dangerous grimoires gets released, and somehow she's getting framed for doing it, and she ends up having to pair up and work with another sorcerer named Nathaniel to help clear her name. So yeah, definitely sounds very intriguing, and I am excited to get into this one for sure. And it's a standalone fantasy, which I want more of those in my repertoire for sure. So then, moving into the sequel that I chose, I decided to do Act Your E... I cannot talk today. Oh my goodness. Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the third book in the Brown Sisters trilogy that she has going out right now. And everybody's raving about these, and I have really enjoyed the first two books. I just read Dani Brown in June, I think it was, and I really just loved it. And this one, all of the books in the series have had some kind of representation as far as like a mental illness or disability or something like that. So I know in this one there's some autism representation, so I'm excited to see how that goes. I heard from one of my commenters on one of my videos that they said the representation was really good, and since they're on the spectrum they could kind of speak to that, so I am really excited about that. But basically in this one, Eve, she's kind of the hot mess youngest sibling, and her chaos of her life kind of ends up ruining this really elegant wedding, and her parents say, hey, no, it's time to grow up. You need to get out there and prove yourself. And then we have Jacob, and Jacob is always in control, and he owns this bed and breakfast, and it's his mission to dominate the hospitality industry. And one day Eve shows up at his B&B and she decides to apply for the head chef job that he has going on, and he's all, no. And as she's leaving, she accidentally hits him with her car, and so while he is recovering, she's trying to make up for it and do everything she can to kind of help at the B&B and such. So Eve begins kind of infiltrating his life, and he is hating it, but at the same time, maybe he's not hating it so much. So we got a little hate to love to start, and yeah, it's going to be a good time. I've heard nothing but great things about pretty much all the books in these series, so I am very excited, and I'm excited to be getting a little bit more romance going on in my life, because I have had so much fantasy and sci-fi this year, and I have loved it, but I am ready to mix it up because I'm also missing my romance and contemporaries. I want to balance it out a little bit here, and I'm still happy to have horror in there too. I feel like I'm at a good level with the horror right now. I'm getting some of it in, but it's not crazy. Anyways, getting off track. So last book for Team 2 here is the buddy read, and this one is Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I have really wanted to read one of her books, but like, I don't know, there's something about them that just like, they don't fully pull me in, but I've heard so many good things about her books that I'm like, I really do want to read them. So this one actually sounds, oh gosh, I just hit myself in the face. This one sounds really good, and so I'm excited to be getting into this one. I know the next one that she has coming out, or it like just came out, I've been so excited for. That was the one that like really pulled me in. I was like, this one's gonna be the one I read, but apparently not. I'm gonna read Monday's Not Coming. But this one's gonna be great too. So basically, Monday, she doesn't show up for the first day of school, and her best friend Claudia just knows something's up, and then when she still doesn't show up after the first 2 weeks of school, she's like, she's missing. Like, where is she? She wouldn't leave me to dealing with all these tests and bullies and everything else. Claudia goes to Monday's mom and her sister, and she's trying to figure out where Monday's at and what's going on, and they just will not help her in any way. And as she kind of starts digging deeper into where Monday is, she realizes that nobody seems to remember the last time that they saw her. And she's like, how does this even happen? How does she just go missing and nobody's even realized it? So, yeah, sounds different. I don't think I've read anything quite like this, and it should be interesting. Okay, and really quick, we'll run through the other two Enneagrams and what I am thinking for those ones. So for Enneagram number 1, there's 4 prompts. The first one is to read a 5-star prediction. And for that one, I'm going to do The Cost of Knowing by Brittany Morris. And I adored Slay earlier this year by her. So I just, like, that's one of the books that's absolutely my favorite of the year. Like, it's there. So I can't imagine that her new book isn't going to just be awesome. I'm really excited for it. So in this one, we have Alex, and he is working really hard to be the perfect boyfriend and employee and brother that he possibly can be, but it's really hard when everything that he touches, he sees its future. So he'll touch his car and he'll see it like down the road, broken down and old and going off to get salvaged. And he touches his girlfriend, he sees them breaking up, and that like freaks him out. And so one day he ends up touching this photo and he sees his brother's imminent death, and he's like shook, obviously. So now it's this race against time as he's trying to deal with him and his brother's past and future and what it means to be a Black young man in America today. And I just, I definitely think this is gonna be a 5-star. Like, it's gotta be. So next book on this one is An Even Number of Pages. And so this book that I'm going with has 388 pages. This is the perfectionist side of us. And it's kind of weird because I definitely, like, the volume on the TV has to be on an even number, or like on volume on the radio or something. Like, I'm trying to let that go, and I've been a little better with it, but like sometimes it irks me. Like, my husband puts it on an odd number, I'm all, nope, it's gotta be even. It's gotta be even. Anyways, so we're gonna do The Girl Who Drank the Moon. And this is a middle grade that I've been really wanting to get to for a while. So basically this town leaves a baby like at the edge of the woods every year as a sacrifice to the witch that lives in these woods. And she's like, why are you guys doing this? And so she always takes the baby in and feeds the baby Starlight until she can bring it to another town and find a better family for this little baby. So one year she accidentally gives the baby Moonlight. So she accidentally gives the baby Moonlight instead of Starlight, and so the baby ends up developing magical powers. So she ends up taking in this baby and raising this one herself. And then as she's getting nearer to, I think it was like her 13th birthday, when her magic really starts coming in, she's away on a trip and somebody from the town is coming to try and kill her. And so she's kind of got to deal with that. And I think there's like a really cute little like dragon companion or something in here too. So I'm kind of excited about that. So there's that one. Next, we have A Seemingly Perfect Character. I had a little bit harder time trying to figure out how to fit that in here, but I'm using the book The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. And this one is set in Russia where winter lasts pretty much most of the year. And we have Vasilissa and her siblings. They listen to their nurse's fairy tales near the fire, and she really loves the one that's about Frost. And he's a blue-eyed winter demon who comes in the frigid night to claim unwary souls. So her nurse kind of says, you have to really honor these spirits, and that will help to protect your home from evil spirits. So Vasilissa's mom ends up passing away, and her dad ends up remarrying, and the stepmother does not believe in any of this, and she says that she doesn't want anybody to be doing these like honoring these spirits or anything anymore. And Vasilisa's like, this just doesn't seem right. Something's gonna go wrong. She's feeling bad about it. And soon enough, crops end up starting to fail and misfortune seems to hit the village. And so she's kind of got to go on a journey to push back against her family, basically, and figure out what's going on. So the reason that I kind of like, I don't know, seemingly perfect character, I feel like, you know, Vasilisa, she's just like this, sounds like this good girl who's just like, I know what's right, and I'm going to honor all these spirits, and listen to my nurse, and this and that, and I don't know, she just seemed like maybe she's kind of that kind of character, but I don't know. And then the buddy read for this one, I honestly don't think I'm going to read. It's The Perfect Marriage, and it just, like, doesn't sound entertaining to me. So basically we're following Sarah, and she's this really powerful DA, and she feels like her life is just like on track, going great. So except for that, her husband kind of is tired of her constantly working and not being home, and he ends up kind of having a passionate affair. So one morning, her husband's mistress ends up dead, murdered, and so Sarah ends up having to take on her most difficult case, in which she has to defend her husband for being tried for murder of his mistress. So, I mean, it sounds like it could definitely be a really interesting and intriguing book. It's just not my type of book. It's not a book that I personally am like, I know I will enjoy this. It's one of those ones where it's like, I know myself and I don't think I would enjoy this, so I don't think I'm... Okay, we're going to run through these last four for Enneagram number 3 here. So the first prompt for this one is ambitious character. So I decided to go ahead and throw Lock Every Door by Riley Sager into this one, and I'm actually reading this one as well with Alita and the books, so I will link her YouTube down below for you guys. But basically we have this apartment sitter, and her rules are no visitors, no nights spent away, and no bothering the other residents while she is apartment sitting in this very upscale, like Manhattan apartment building. So Jules settles in, and she ends up finding a friend in Ingrid, who is another apartment sitter in this building. And then one night Ingrid goes missing, and as Jules is kind of digging into what happened to her friend, she realizes that Ingrid is not the first apartment sitter to go missing. So that's kind of the premise of this one. I've heard a good thriller. I enjoyed my last ride. I'm really struggling to talk today. Oh my goodness. I really enjoyed Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and I want to read through some of his backlist books, and so yeah, excited to get through this one. Jeez. Okay, next prompt, a character that discovers their identity. For this one, we are going to read Harley in the Sky. I have been trying to read this book for like 3 months now, and I just want to read it already. It just hasn't quite fit in to everything that I've got going on with all my TBRs and everything. I don't know. So this one is by Akemi Dawn Bowman, and we are following Harley, and basically she really wants to be a trapeze artist, and her parents actually own a circus, and so she watches the trapeze artists all the time, and she's like, I want to do this, but her parents are like, no, we really want you to go to school instead. And so they end up getting into this huge fight one night, and Harley takes off and she goes to the rival circus and gets hired to be a trapeze artist. So she gets thrown into this beautiful but brutal world, and I'm assuming she's going to really find herself there and try and figure things out, and probably has to work through some things with her family. And so yeah, that's where that one's at. Then we move into one with a competition or challenge in it, and I actually really like this in books, so I'm excited about this prompt. And we're going to throw Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow in here. I've been wanting to start this series for a really long time. It's a really fun middle grade series I've heard lots of great things about, and I love the kind of magical feeling it seems to have to it, so I'm excited. But basically we have Morgan, and she is cursed and pretty much We're gonna make it through this video. We really are. We're gonna make it. Okay, she's blamed for any misfortunes that happen to happen to this town, including like hailstorms or heart attacks or anything like that. And part of her curse is that she is cursed to die at midnight on her 11th birthday. Now, as she's kind of awaiting her fate, Jupiter shows up and whisks her away to this magical world called Nevermore. And in order to stay here in Nevermore and not be succumbing to this awful curse and fate she has going on, she has to compete in 4 dangerous trials in order to join and earn a spot in the Wondrous Society. And then the last buddy read that is included for this one, I actually would love to read as well because I just read my first Trisha Levenseller book and really enjoyed it. So it's another one of her books, which is The Shadows Between Us. And this one we're following Alessandra, and she is tired of being overlooked, and she has a plan to gain some power. Basically, she wants to woo the king into marrying her and then murder him. But no one really knows the extent of the Shadow King's powers as he is newly crowned, and everyone seems to also want to be out to kill him as well. So Alessandra actually finds herself trying to keep him alive long enough in order for her to marry him and become the queen before she allows him to actually be killed. So that's kind of the premise of this, but most likely she's going to maybe lose her heart a little bit in the balance of all of this. So yes, another fun kind of fantasy romance. I really think that I need to explore that genre a little bit more. After reading her book, I just was like, this is fun, and I'm liking it. So anyways, that is... was that 12 books? I don't think I'm going to be reading 12 books in the span of those 2 weeks, but I'm hoping to maybe get like 6 books done. Luckily, it's running before school actually starts for me, so I won't be like super distracted by that, but I do have my daughter's birthday, and me and her are starting up school later in August. I'm sure there will be plenty of stuff going on. But that's it for now, and I'm super excited for this readathon. If you guys haven't joined in, you definitely can, so I'll leave all the info down below for you guys so you can go and check it out and join in on the Discord and figure out your Enneagram if you don't know and all that fun stuff. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!